Thanks, Eric. Now, I know that I've given talks before, groups that are primarily composed of environmentalists and people who have generally been anti-nuclear in their sentiment. And when people hear about this, there's a lot of interest, usually. Because, for one thing, waste is one of the big problems that people see, and this takes care of it. Because we have such a limited amount of time, we don't have time for Q&A. However, the organizers have been kind enough to allow us to come back at the end of the last afternoon presentation here, which is probably going to be about, it's scheduled for 5:15, but we're running 10 minutes late, about 5:25. And anyone who would like to remain here or come and discuss this, we'll be happy to do a Q&A and impart as much information as we can. Afterwards, if you see any of us around, by all means, feel free to come up and talk to us about it. And hopefully this will kind of open a new doorway on the idea of a world of energy abundance, which is, I think, the world that we all want. We want a world where not only people in the United States can have an energy-rich future. We would like to have it happen all over the world, and it can happen all over the world. We have to make some policy decisions, but the technology is there. So I hope to see a lot of you later, and thank you for coming.
Just a brief statement, if you would.
Just a second, I have to tell them. We're going to have only a 10-minute break. So if you need to run to the restroom or grab a coffee, please be back promptly in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Not a Q&A, but a brief and important statement from the American Council on Renewable Energy to the question of the panel, because the question did not get answered. Sir, this is very important. Excuse me? Hello? And to Eric, I want you to know that I was the strategic planner of GE's power business, the whole business, in 1981, approving PRISM. I was there. But the point is, to the question that was raised, the American Council on Renewable Energy has the following position, and we've discussed it at length. There's apples and oranges, right? We're oranges, you're apples. If oranges start selling well, it's unfair for apples to say, I want to be called an orange, right? So the answer is no. The renewable energy community will not accept nuclear power to be called renewable. However, that does not mean that we are against renewable nuclear power. What we do demand is that you allow renewable energy to be renewable, and we know what that is. And secondly, that you stand up as nuclear power and don't change any words and defend and promote yourself on that basis. And we are not against you for doing that, but you are not crossing over, with all due respect.